Good evening. How are you? Good? Well, I'm not good. Pradeep Ranganathan, you either love him or you hate him, but regardless of your opinion of him, you can't help but admit this guy has been crushing it in the box office lately. With his acting debut Love Today and his second film Dragon, they've been absolute successes with the audience. With his latest film Dude, people have been wondering if he'd be able to maintain this success in the box office, and he has. But does this film hold up to Pradeep Ranganathan's previous ventures? Dude follows the story of Agan, a man who runs a prank business with his cousin Kural. This prank business basically organizes surprises for people's proposals, birthdays, anniversaries, and so on. One day, when Agan is running a birthday surprise, he's surprised with a proposal by Kural. As she sits there on one knee, Agan asks, now this is the thing that I don't like about some of Pradeep Ranganathan's films. It's just like, why you gotta be so like horny all the time? Bro, like, you've seen proposals happen thousands of times running your business. Is this what you think every time a man gets on his knees? And more importantly, this is your homie, your cousin. Now, before you guys freak out, yes, this is unfortunately a love story between cousins. But before you take this as an excuse to be racist and be like, ew, like, South Indians are so gross. Indians are so nasty marrying their cousins. Hold up, check yourself. You're being a little racist. Cousin marriage is very common in South India. It is not very common in North India, but it happens for a lot of reasons. Most times it has to do with keeping wealth in the family, maintaining or strengthening family ties, and more often than not, caste. In these types of situations, people often don't really get a choice. We shouldn't shame anyone who's currently in a cousin marriage if the society you grow up in is acceptable of that, and basically telling you from the moment you're born that, oh, you're gonna be marrying your cousin. Shit happens. I've been seeing people make some arguments that cousin marriage is a part of the culture. I don't really vibe with that. I don't really want my culture to be associated with a practice that is seen as keeping bloodlines pure, or more importantly, viewing marriage as a thing of convenience for the families as opposed to the union of two hearts. But yeah, there's my little midnight tangent for ya. After Kural proposes to Agan, Agan accepts, but on their bike ride home, he confesses that he doesn't like her at all, and only accepted her proposal because of the number of people around them. Smart guy. Kural is heartbroken and goes off to do her master's instead. After their friends find out that Agan rejected Kural, they all berate him for his decision, which I'm like, dude, he made the best decision. If you don't like a girl, don't lead her on. Cut her off, tell her you don't like her, and let her move on. I didn't really get this plot point of why all his friends are like, dude, what did you do? Fumble of the year. I mean, I kind of get it, but his loss, and, you know, it builds character. He's made a smart decision for himself and Kural. He understands his heart. He's making a decision that works. After Agan gets into a car accident, he realizes that Kural is the love of his life. Guys, if it takes someone to be in a near-death accident to realize, hey, maybe I like you, shoot them dead with a gun. Get them out of your life. Are you kidding me? Imagine if they operated their entire life like that. Hey babe, do you think we should have kids? Wait, let me just think. Hold up. Oh my god. Yeah, babe. I think we should have kids. What the fuck? Agan goes to Kural's father and says he wants to marry Kural. So her dad, who's played by Sarath Kumar, arranges for the marriage immediately. When Agan goes to see Kural after she comes home, he discovers... And why, you may ask? Because...
Party. College mate.
That's what you get for realizing things late. Listen, she's not gonna be moping around all sad and mad just because you rejected her. Let her move on. She's found the love of her life, and I am so happy for her. I am so happy for her. And you know what? Agan is too. After realizing that she also likes someone else, Agan encourages Kural to go tell her father. However, she is a little hesitant at first because Kural still thinks that Agan has feelings for her, but Agan clarifies that he has zero feelings and goes as far as making up a story that Kural's father is actually the one that came to him and begged him to marry Kural. But reality is... So Kurul, happy with Agin's response, goes to tell her father, and my guy agrees. He says, yeah, sure, we'll marry you to the boy that you like. He asks if he has any wealth. She says no, and he's like, it's fine, I have my wealth. He then asks her if he has any family, what his family does, and she says he grew up in an orphanage, and he's like, it's fine, our relatives will become his relatives. And last but not least, he asks, what's his caste? And Kurul looks up at him a little confused by this question, almost as if she's never heard him talk about this before. And she says, he's not from our caste. And this, ladies and gents, is where we start to cook. Atyaman is a politician, a man who started off as a milkman who's worked decades to build his political career today as the Minister of Dairy Development. Atyaman comes off as a very loving, carefree guy, so much so that he reveres his younger sister who passed away when she was young as the deity of their family. He unfortunately is no longer in contact with his other sister, Agin's mother, due to some unknown reasons. When Kurul reveals to Atyaman that she loves a boy from another caste, this facade shatters and he reveals, and this is where I start to understand why this film did so well. The vibe of this film up until this point is so unserious. I thought this would just be like a Tyagam type of story where you'll do anything to see your love be happy. But we now got a life and death situation here, so I am all in for it. Nowhere in those 30 minutes there is a mention of caste, which is why I think it is so jarring when the tone of the movie changes completely. When Atyaman threatens to take Kurul's life, Agin interferes and claims it was just a prank, when in reality, he had been eavesdropping from Kurul's phone. So Agin and Kurul decide to bring her lover, Pari, over so that they can run off and live together somewhere in India. However, when Agin and Kurul hold their reception, they realize Mr. Atyaman is no regular guy. My boy has connections all over India, bro. So basically, Agin realizes, yeah, you guys can't run away anywhere in India. He'll find you. So what are their options? Pari and Kurul can run off to another country. Pari doesn't have his passport. So Pari suggests, Agin, just marry Kurul, bro. I completely trust you. It'll just be a facade. Just do this until we can get some visas. The rest of the film follows their journey to try to get Pari and Kurul to leave India so that they can live happily ever after. But boy, oh boy, the second half of this film tested me. It tested me. I have never wanted to pull my hair out more watching a film because everyone is just so dumb in the movie. After Agin and Kurul get married, Agin, Pari, and Kurul realize that they have to relocate to another country completely to escape her father. So with Agin's ex's help, they apply for work visas in Canada. When they go in to interview for the visa, Pari passes with flying colors, but Kurul, on the other hand, isn't so lucky because she lied on her application. And you want to know what she lied about? The fact that she's pregnant and it's Pari's kid. Agin is rightfully infuriated because it's gonna take another 3 months for them to get Canadian work visas, and by that point my girl's gonna be showing like the sun and the moon. So what do we have to do? Agin correctly and logically suggests to get an abortion, and Kurul goes, I have motherly feelings. Now, I'm not gonna dog on a woman too hard for wanting to have a child. However, if this was my homie, girl, your father wants to kill you. You have no job. You have no money. Pretty soon you're not gonna have any family and you're relocating to an entire new country to escape your castiest, murderous father. And you wanna bring a child into that life? Your father is already pissed that you even loved a man from another caste. Imagine what he'll do when he finds out you a guy from another caste. And more importantly, imagine what he'll do with that child. Are you crazy? Eventually, Agin forces her to go to the abortion clinic and they're signing all the documents for the abortion. Kurul has also resigned to this outcome as well, but their doctor points out that there's a 90% chance that she'll never conceive again if she gets this abortion. Well, that's convenient. Looks like they have to keep the kid. This is what I mean when I say like the second half of the film just pisses me off, because this is clearly there just to add more conflict in the film. If you already know that Kurul has a weak uterus, PCOD, Couldn't she have left like some information earlier on in the film that would make this seem less convenient? Just like maybe a simple conversation that Kurul has with Agin about, oh, I need to go to the doctor, I have cramps. So I don't know, something where it doesn't feel so out of the blue and doesn't feel like, well, wow, you just did that for the plot type of thing. I don't know. Agin announces to the family that Kurul is pregnant and the baby is born. Yippee, yahoo. Yes. Agin and Kurul are still in this fake marriage, which means it's been around a year, bro. My guy has not been able to move on from Kurul for an entire year because she's just there in front of him the entire time. But fear not, guys, because Kurul and Bari have finally gotten their Canadian work visas and they're gonna go back to Canada. Agin will finally get to move on and he'll be done with this stupid little sham. He'll get his freedom, his liberty, the ability to date again, and he'll be completely fine without.
உனக்கு ஒரு நல்ல பொண்ணா பார்த்து கல்யாணம் பண்ணி வச்சு தான் நான் இங்க இருந்து கிளம்புவேன்.
So, this dummy Kurul discovers from Agin's friend that Agin has actually had feelings for her the entire time, and his little story about her father begging him to marry her was a lie. So Kurul decides that the only solution to this is to find Agin a bride and get him married. Did he say he wants to get married? Go live your life. He was finally about to move on. He was finally about to gain his freedom. And you're gonna stay longer and prolong his suffering? In what right mind did you think that that is happiness to him? Did you even talk to him about this? Look what he's going through just from liking one girl. You want to put him through more? Like, girl, wake up. Wake up. She stays back and gets him signed up on a bunch of dating sites and it all flops. So Agin calls up one of his homies from work and pretends to go on a successful date with her. So Kurul finally decides to go to Canada. Yes.
எனக்கும் லாஸ்டா ஒரு தடவை அவரை பார்க்கணும் போல இருக்குடா.
Kurul basically gets a call from her dad right before she's about to leave for Canada, and this makes her all sentimental because she's like, when am I ever gonna see Appa again? As soon as he told you he killed his own sister and pulled out a gun on you, that man is no longer your father. Lock in. You have a family now. Abandon him, move on, live a beautiful life in Canada, okay? Do you see how dumb the characters are? It's just like so frustrating. Like this entire time, it should be Kurul who's hyper aware of the fact that her father, the man who raised her, pulled out a gun on her and almost killed her in that moment. But she just keeps on forgetting and lives in this la-di-da world where we're all still a happy family. So Kurul goes to visit her dad, and can you guess what happens? Kurul's father finds out that Kurul applied for a divorce and holds her captive, which is when Agin comes in and says that he got bored of Kurul and wanted other ladies, which is why he told her to apply for a divorce. Kurul's dad is pissed and sends off some goondas to kill Agin, which is when Kurul reveals the whole jig. And obviously, Atyaman responds in a completely normal, rational way. He takes the baby to go shoot him by a lake, bro. And as he's about to pull the trigger, he gets a heart attack. Wow, what a twist. I'm so shocked. Kurul's dad wakes up in the hospital and the doctors tell him that his grandson is the one who saved him. And y'all want to know how? Basically, the baby crawled out onto the road and caused an entire traffic jam. And everyone was like, oh, where does that baby come from? And on their way to discovering where the baby came from, they find Atyaman's body. He's only alive because of the baby. Now, I'm gonna be honest, that baby ain't surviving shit if it gets on that highway. So none of us are believing that story, right? Especially Atyaman. I mean, come on. This guy's a big brain, smart dude. Are we really gonna believe that story? No, because this story was cooked up by Agin to convince Atyaman that his castiest ways are bad. What a dumbass plan. You really think Atyaman, a man who's killed his Dangachi, will fall for this silly little goofy plan? He believes it. He believes it. He believes it so wholeheartedly that he breaks down in tears and even accepts Kurul and Pari has a couple and Pari has his mapla, and Mr. Agin is left there smiling, looking through the hospital window, and the film ends. Thank God. Oh my god. Holy crap. This movie was such a huge disappointment for me, and honestly, I didn't think I was going into it with that much expectations up until the point where Sarath Kumar reveals his true colors. Then I started to get hyped and was very much looking forward to how the rest of the film would unfold. But oh my god, it just felt like the characters were all so dumb in this that you don't even want to root for anything. Everyone operates in a way where they don't even realize, like, oh, I could die because of this decision. And that's what makes the film so frustrating. On paper, this is a fantastic film. There is so much that you can do to work with it. And actually, the plot progresses in a great way. But I think what is forgotten here is the characters. There's barely any character development in terms of traits, relationships, and anything that really makes you connect with anyone in the film. Even the way the film starts, we spend 8 minutes on a ex-lover situation, a song, and the grand proposal with Kurul and Agin. I feel like that time could have been better used to establish why Kurul likes Agin in the first place. I didn't even care when Agin refused Kurul's proposal. It made complete sense to me because to me, she's a stranger and so is Agin, so obviously I would recommend anyone to make that decision. Even later on in the film, the relationship between Kurul and Pari is just there for the plot. You feel there's nothing between them and you're just there sitting, watching, like, okay, great. These guys are just another obstacle, another bump in the road that Agin will have to face. Even Pari's character, who's played by a lovely actor, I really liked him in the movie Bad Girl, and I was looking forward to what they'll do with him. And his character was just, haha, look at how dumb he is. What a waste. What a waste, man. I was really frustrated at first because I felt like they really dumbed Kurul down. Like, she is so not aware of her situation and she just comes off as an asshole for the second half of the film. She's never considerate of Agin or the fact that he's doing a lot to make sure that she survives this. And you might argue, well, Agin has to do this or else she dies. And you're right. But the fact that there's just no consideration for him as a person and what he's gonna go through after she leaves, it's just so ridiculous. How dumb can someone be? She's the one who's the most at risk. She's the one that could die from this. But she's just so careless, carefree, acts like there's no threat in the world. The fact that she's still able to move normally with her dad, who pulled out a gun on her. Yeah, sure, you can treat this serious subject matter in a very funny way, but having characters behave in such an illogical way was so crazy. It really felt like throughout the film, only Agin understood the seriousness of what was going on. Pari, Kurul, they couldn't give a shit. They're like two little 14-year-olds off doing their own little thing. I think the main question that dude asks the audience is, what is marriage? Is it the tali that means marriage, or is it the union of two people who truly love each other? The whole film starts off with Agin ripping off his ex's tali at her wedding. That basically sets the entire theme for the film. Ultimately, what did I think of Dude? I think it was a super interesting idea, a really interesting plot, but it fell victim to convenient writing and super dry, bland, silly characters. I didn't think this film would be controversial at all, but I think it has prompted the Indian audience, or specifically the Tamil audience, to talk about the sanctity of marriage. There has been more talk about what the tali means, and this film is a very good exploration of that. It does get lost at moments, but it's there. The message is there. I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know what you thought about Dude, because I am curious. I did see a lot of good reviews about it. I think everyone from Bharadwaj Rangan to Sudhir Srinivasan all reviewed the film very highly. I do agree with some of their comments, but I think ultimately, I just like logic in my films. I need characters to behave in an expected way and not in silly, nonsensical way, you know? But anywho, as always, Anbe is here. Take care, kiddos.